So here we go, right? So this is my first slide. I'm going to be talking about how to protect yourself in these times. Now, all of this is actually not just for the COVID-19, but it's actually for any virus and protecting your immune system and boosting your immune system all the time. But right now it feels like things are really out of control. So I thought it was important to acknowledge COVID-19 in this. So there's
Stephanie, I'm sorry, just really quickly, I need to let people know that we are recording this session so that we can share that with the people that aren't able to join us. I have to say that. So go ahead, sorry.
Okay. So I guess what you're saying is if you don't want to be, actually, I don't know if anybody can be seen. Is that true when I'm talking? April?
I'm not positive about that. I don't think so.
I don't think anybody can be seen in the recording, just so you guys know. Unless you're talking, asking a question, you won't be seen. So you can keep your video on if you don't mind. Okay, so yes, so this whole goal is to give you steps to just to deal with the stress and anxiety and build your immune system. That's what we're talking about today. So inflammation and immune function are at the heart of resilience. And one of the things, one of the main topics I'm talking about today is clearing. So some of the things you can do to clear waste from your body, waste is really important to get out of your body, and I'll talk a little bit about why, but is things like we all hear hydrating with water, with herbal teas, with broths and fresh vegetable juices. That's one way to help clear all kinds of things, toxins, hormones, anything that needs to be pushed out of the body, we want to clear, right? So that's with, you're hydrating. You're really considering water-rich foods like soups, stews, fruits, and vegetables, lots of water in those. You're eating lots of fiber. Now the fiber piece is really important because fiber is what acts like a broom in our digestive tract, and that is what actually flushes out with your bowel movements extra debris, right? We don't want that floating around in our system for a long time in our digestive tract. We want to get that out, and fiber is the thing that acts like the broom to sweep that extra food out. So fiber is incredibly important for our digestive system and clearing waste. And then considering digestive supplements, which I may or may not be able to come back to that today, but that's something that has to do with, like, if you know you have digestive issues, there's a lot to that. I could talk 3 hours about that, but sometimes if we know we have reflux or we don't have enough stomach acid to really break things down, or we need enzymes, there's a lot of different kinds of supplements you can do, but that's just one way of helping you get clear from body waste. And then consuming probiotics and prebiotics. And that I am a big proponent of food first. And then if you know you have digestive distress, or digestive any kind of an autoimmune or any real kind of distress, you probably want to start adding supplementation. So that is, like I said, I'm going to go through these bullet points, and then if you guys have questions at the end, I'm happy to answer more questions, and they may get answered a little bit more in depth as we go along. So clearing waste, clearing inflammation. I know right now that donut looks so good. That picture, I love the picture because it's like, I think we can all relate to wanting to eat that right now. If you're like me, it's a great comfort food, and in this time, a lot of us are reaching for sugar and salt and things that bring comfort, alcohol, and I completely understand that. But the thing, and I've heard this really funny term, you don't want to gain the COVID-19-15. Get it? I love that one. You don't want to gain the 15, COVID-19-15. So the thing but the real important point here is that sugar and alcohol and processed foods definitely create inflammation in your body. And inflammation is really a biological response that the immune system it triggers the immune system. So inflammation is a direct link to your immune system. And what we want is to have a strong immune system. So we want to be removing the foods that could trigger this inflammatory response. Gluten and dairy are on here because a lot of people are intolerant, maybe don't have celiac disease, but have other gut issues that or they're intolerant to wheat in general, and it's a lower intolerance. It's not the celiac, but it can have just as big as an impact. this gluten, even if you don't have celiac. But also if you have a leaky gut and other issues going on in your gut, gluten can be a real problem and create inflammation, as can dairy. And dairy is a food that only, not a huge percentage of the population actually has the enzyme to break down after the age of 3 or 4. That's just how it goes. It depends on your genetics, but a lot of people at a certain age stop producing the enzyme to break down dairy. So then if you're eating dairy and you don't have that enzyme, it creates inflammation. And then, of course, you have individual food allergies, sensitivities, and intolerances that you may or may not know you have, but those also create inflammation. So these are just ideas on how to keep inflammation low in your body. Even though that donut does look good. And then the other thing is to calm stress and anxiety. This is huge, huge, huge. And I was talking about that earlier. Practicing stress reducing techniques, and if you're online at all, you're seeing a lot of that maybe fly by in your own inbox and online social media, but it's for good reason, because practicing deep breathing and meditation and prayer and gratitude and visualization, all these different techniques that help you to calm down are imperative, because stress and cortisol in the bloodstream affect your hormones, and your hormones in turn affect a myriad things in your body, right? So many things, but particularly let's talk about cortisol today. Eventually, that actually plays, when you have too much cortisol in your bloodstream, it affects your blood sugar, it affects weight gain, it affects eventually it can affect your thyroid, it can affect many, many pieces. And so trying to keep cortisol low is an imperative piece to keeping your immune system in shape and strong. So finding these techniques daily might be a wonderful way during this time to really calm things down. And there's so many great resources for that. Staying connected, all of these all connect into your immune system because of that cortisol effect, that fight or flight. We really need to calm down the fight or flight. And so calling a friend, getting some exercise, getting out in nature comes back to these healing breaths. I'm a big proponent of deep breaths, and I can give everybody a tool for that if you would like at the end. And going for walks, all of these ways are ways to stay connected to the present moment and to not future think and just be calming in your body. And then a lot of times we're going to talk about now, we often want to skip some things we can do in our life and just go right to supplementation for your immune system. And I really feel like that can really be helpful too. But I want to give you guys some ways to kind of do it naturally when it comes to building your immune system. So I have a list here of, can you guys see that whole list okay, or are your faces in front of it? Because I can see your faces blocking my list. I just want to make sure you can see it. You can see it? Okay, good.
You can also move the block of faces just with your cursor.
It's kind of bouncing around, but I just wanted to make sure that because I'm screen sharing, you're not seeing that.
Yeah, and we will share these slides on our website so people can access them after the meeting.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. So the first thing I have on here is taking vitamins, minerals, and nutrients based on the needs of the individual. Everything is bio-individual. I am a big believer in that. Not everybody needs the same things, but these are things that actually enhance your immune system. So I'm going to pop down to the next slide in a second because I go into these a little bit more in depth here. So I'm going to do the overview, and then the next slide I'll show you what they do for you and what you can eat to help your intake of these vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. So you've got vitamin D, vitamin C, quercetin, zinc, NAC are all wonderful boosters when it comes to that. And then you have, I said, get herby and spicy. Enjoying herbs and spices like elderberry and garlic. Garlic's huge. Echinacea, turmeric, astragalus is an herb, and oregano. That's just a small list. There's a bigger list, but those are some things that if you add that into your food, they all have antiviral, antibacterial properties and more. Going for a diverse, nutrient-rich diet. is really critical. So eating that whole rainbow of color in your fruits and vegetables is just so important, getting all the colors, because they each have their own job. And all of those foods fight free radicals, and free radicals are what are bouncing around our bodies that cause inflammation. And inflammation, you know, is, we talked a little bit already about, but inflammation can be like a chronic, low grade thing going on in your body, or it can be acute, right? Like you step on a nail and your body reacts to that. That's acute, quick inflammation versus chronic, low grade inflammation. And so what you want to do is quell that inflammation, and this rainbow of food, these colors, each do a specific job to help fight the free radicals and tamp that down. So I'm huge, just every day make sure you get the rainbow of colors. And then of course, you guys already know this, protecting barrier systems, because, you know, we do take everything in through all of our barrier systems, skin included, skin, eyes, nose, mucous membranes. So of course, protecting those are really important. And then going back to eating fermented foods, or maybe I didn't say that already, but probiotics go hand in hand with fermented foods. So that's what you want to start thinking about eating in order to get the natural intake of probiotics, is fermented foods. Will also be healing for your gut and help your gut. And then avoiding inflammatory foods. So I kind of said that before, inflammatory foods being your food triggers. Sugar is such, I mean, we probably all know now that sugar is the root of, you know, most inflammation is the root of most common modern diseases. And most inflammation comes from sugar or processed food, the imbalance of your blood sugar. So getting rid of those inflammatory triggers are really, really important. And then avoiding smoke. Where to find these nutrients? So here we go with just a little bit more, because people don't necessarily want to take supplements, and I think food first always. So vitamin A is one I mentioned. It can protect against infections. It can increase white blood cell production and support T cell function. And that's really important. That's your immune system, white blood cell production. Found in things like fermented cod liver oil and liver, which I'm sure you're all very excited to try or eat. But you can get cod liver oil in capsules and you don't taste it. The right brand, you don't even burp it up. It's fabulous. But it doesn't even have to be fermented. You could just do cod liver oil. They have, like, for kids, they have lemon flavor and orange flavor. And I'm here to say, both my boys, when they were little, took it and never complained. And one never even liked fish. So it tells you that you can get a good flavor of this. And then beta carotene rich vegetables like carrots and spinach, kohlrabi. I have a note here that some of us have a genetic kind of SNP that makes beta carotene hard to convert into vitamin A. I happen to be one of those people. And that just means I need to go straight to the vitamin A and not expect my beta carotene, like from carrots, for instance, to turn into vitamin A. So you won't know that unless you've had a genetic test done, but there are those people. I had no idea I was one until last year. So now I'm making sure I get my vitamin A directly from food. Butter is another great way to get vitamin A directly. Vitamin D activates T cells. These are our cells that help fight infection and pathogens. Decreases the severity of autoimmunity, enables monocytes to kill more viruses, big words for immune system. But your best sources are sunlight, and in the Northwest, you really don't get enough sun, no matter how sunny and warm you feel, until summer, and that's about it. That vitamin D needs to be in the summertime to work. Otherwise, I'm a big proponent of supplementing vitamin D. But you can also get it from liver, grass-fed butter, fatty fish, egg yolks, and fermented cod. There's the cod liver oil again. So A and D. Vitamin C is my favorite thing in the world. Antiviral, antibacterial, antihistamine, supports antibody production, improves antibiotic therapy. You can get that in, we all know, strawberries, red bell peppers, papaya, oranges, lemon juice squeezed in water, for instance. And then superfoods, like things you may not have heard of, but you can get at health food stores or online, like camu, goji berries, Inca berries, also known as gooseberries. Those superfoods have huge amounts of vitamin C in them. They're wonderful. You can add them to smoothies, sprinkle them on oatmeal, that sort of thing. And then zinc and selenium, hugely important. These are minerals that a lot of people are lacking or don't have the right enough ratio, but zinc and selenium both boost immunity And my favorite foods, or the favorite foods that have the most amount, would come back to liver, beef, oysters, scallops, lambs, oats, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, and Brazil nuts. And Brazil nuts, actually, just a couple a month, are wonderful for your thyroid. They have enough selenium to help you just on 2 or 3 a month. So that's a great nut to try if you know you have a little bit of a low thyroid. So where to find immune nutrients in herbs? So the power of plants, my best friend, I love plants, boosting immune support with plants and herbs depending on your ailment and your inner terrain, meaning what's going on in your gut, your bacteria, all of that. But some of my favorites are elderberry, as I mentioned, coming back to the same, garlic, echinacea, turmeric. Turmeric is what they call nature's ibuprofen, by the way. It's a fantastic herb for any kind of pain, joint pain, arthritis. There's over probably thousands of studies now that prove it's better for you and works the same if for pain as taking an NSAID. So like that is an incredible spice, and you can do that in supplementation too, because you kind of need a high amount to really make it work for joint pain. But then we go to astragalus, which is another herb, wonderful for immune system, and some other herbs that you may not have heard of, but I just put examples. Mushrooms are best known for their cancer-fighting properties, and what's in that is called beta-D-glucan. Mushrooms have beta-D-glucan, and they've been found to modulate your immune system. Hands down, incredible, powerful, natural way to help yourself is to have maitake, shiitake, chaga, reishi, turkey tail, oops, typo. But you can get those mushrooms in powder forms, take them as a tincture. You can get them in a capsule, or in food, and just eat the mushrooms. But honestly, mushrooms are fabulous for your immune system. And each one has its own little thing that it kind of focuses better on. Might be memory, might be energy. There's so many good things about this, and there's some good brands out there that I love. I can share with you. Enhancing detoxification, another way, so I kind of went to this in the beginning, talked about this in the beginning, but your bodily waste elimination is incredibly important. Making sure that you're honestly having a bowel movement every day is one of the most important things that you can do for detox, making sure that, you're that getting enough fiber that acts as the broom, right? That's really, really important. And we can come back. I can talk a lot about that if you want, but it's everybody's favorite topic, right? Pooping. Getting out a neti pot and irrigating using distilled water, making sure that, you're using the right water, but that is an incredible way to just irrigate. I recently had a few months back, something that just wouldn't leave me. And as soon as I started neti potting, within 2 days, it was all gone. Clearing your lungs, really important right now through deep breath, keeping the lungs really strong and powerful. Deep breathing is wonderful for that. Essential oils, breathing in some oils that have natural antibacterial properties. You can humidify it through your home. It kills things in the air. It's a really great way. You can put it in a humidifier, air purifier, wonderful ways to help the air, but also the lungs. Moving making sure you move your lymph system. Your lymphatic system is part of your immune system. Really, really important. I kind of like to call it the garbage dump for the immune system. You need the lymph. It flows through your body. It's always moving, and then it'll kind of go into a lymph node where the white blood cells will attack bacteria. But you want that to be flowing all the time. The lymph moves into the blood moves into the lymph. We want this dance, we want this flow all the time to make sure that garbage dump is taking out the debris. And one way you can do that is just gentle jumping, blowing bubbles, just to get the diaphragm going, kind of helps circulation. Just gentle exercise really will get that lymph system going. It's really a huge part of your immune system. And then things like you may or may not be able to do right now, but the herbs I talked about, saunas, Epsom salt baths are a great way. A little bit of sweat, detoxification, sweating is really good. And then there's other things you can do to detox that I won't go over today. And then sleep, always see the cute kitty. Always comes back to sleep, always, always, always. creating a sanctuary so that you can get at least 7 hours of sleep a night is imperative for your immune system, because studies have shown when you get less than 6 hours of sleep a night, you're more than 4 times likely to catch a cold. That's just lots of studies about that than adults who sleep more than 7 hours. So sleep is important. It's also when you reestablish your immune system, when everything kind of heals and gets reset. So sleep, hormones, everything. So you definitely want to get enough sleep, unplugging enough time before you want to go to bed, kind of going, sleeping in your circadian rhythm with the light and dark. All these things are really important. Making sure you don't have little lights beeping in your room. And going to bed full can really hamper your sleep, because you're trying to digest food, and food takes an immense amount of energy to digest. And so that'll be taken away from you a little bit as well, getting good sleep. Okay, that's it. That's what I have. Whew, I think I did it in 20 minutes. Wow, I did it. If anyone has questions, I went over that really fast. I didn't mention exercise, and that's a huge piece of this as well. I did in the Stay Connected for going on walks, but exercise is another really big piece that proves to lower chronic stress, right? And kind of helps dampen the immune effect. And the one thing I will say about exercise is, if you're in a really big chronic state of stress right now, you really feel anxious and full of anxiety, doing really hardcore exercise may not be your best friend, because hardcore exercise does also pump more cortisol into your blood. And we know the cortisol puts you in fight or flight, and lots of critical functions are dampened and suppressed when you're in fight or flight mode. So you really need your cortisol. You really need to do the things for you that bring you energy rather than deplete you from energy. So if you're not in that chronic state of stress, go ahead and do, your GI Joe exercise. But if you are, I really recommend doing just more gentle yoga, Pilates, bar, going out for walks. A HIIT workout's even better, because you're going up into that state, but you're coming back down into a more gentle state a lot in a HIIT workout. So that's another thing to consider for exercise. Okay, I think I hit all my points. Oh, alcohol. Alcohol is the last one I have written here. I know a lot of us love to reach for a glass of wine at night to calm down, and I'm with you, I understand that. But when it comes to the immune system, it isn't a helper. It's definitely a suppressant. And so honestly, I would say no more than, if you really want to be on top of this, no more than 2 glasses a week of alcohol. People love hearing that, but that's the honest truth. So
Awesome.
Okay.
So there's some fantastic questions, and I want to get to them. But before we do, because I think we're going to be talking till the end, I want to do the drawing. So